Well, another thing that I use on my digital SLR is the Zacuto Z Finder, and what they do is they just snap right on the camera, and they allow you to be able to look in here, and it makes it more like a regular video camera. It blocks out all the other sunlight and allows you to see your LCD screen very, very easily, and allows you to focus more properly, and a lot easier using this. So if you guys are going to be shooting action sports with these digital SLRs, I highly recommend one of these Z Finders, or some type of a Hoodman, or some type of a loop device that you can put on here that's going to help you keep that camera steady and be able to focus very easily. Now, one thing you'll notice on all my cameras is I have the battery grip on both of them, and the reason being is batteries really get eaten up when you're filming with these cameras in video mode. So I use the battery grip, and what that allows you to do is this one's empty, but it allows you to put 2 batteries in here at one time fully charged. So you can run off of 2 batteries instead of 1. Gives you longer life on the field, so you don't have to walk off and change batteries. Okay, well, another important thing that you might want to think about when you're shooting video with a digital SLR is sound quality. And you guys might notice that I use the Rode video mic. There's a brand new model that just came out. It hasn't even been fully released yet, so you might want to check that out. This is the little bit older one, but it has amazing sound, and it mounts right on the shoe on the top of the camera and plugs in to the side, and it really gives you a lot better sound if you want to get those guys yelling and screaming across the field. This mic works great. I don't even cover it up. I just stick it on the camera. It's been hit multiple times, and it just keeps right on going. Only time I really just take it off is if it's raining. You definitely don't want to get it wet. Okay, so what lens would I recommend for you guys if you're just starting out and you don't really have a lot of money to spend? Well, obviously, the lens that I use is that I've showed you, and one thing I did forget to mention was that this lens also is image stabilized. Now, what that means is when you hit the record mode, an image stabilization happens inside the lens, which really helps steady your shot. So I definitely would recommend that you guys use image stabilized lenses. That way, if you're not shooting on a tripod, you're going to get a lot more steady, nicer looking shot if you use an image stabilized lens. Now, they make this version in a f.4 lens. It will still give you a really nice depth of field, a very cinematic look, and you can also get it in a non-IS version, which is a lot cheaper. Now, that lens will probably cost you as much as your camera did. However, these lenses will hold their value. Now, they do go down when they come out with newer ones, but not like a camera is going to go down in value. So don't be afraid to invest some money in these lenses, especially if you can get them used and somebody else has taken a little of the sticker shock already. Because when the new camera comes out, these lenses are going to fit right on there, and these lenses are going to hold their value. Now, obviously, when you get a large aperture lens like this, that's 2.8, you can see how big that lens is you're going to get a lot of weight. Now, people have asked me, do I use a follow focus rig? You know, those things that sit on the shoulder with the handles? No, I don't use that. I don't like the way they feel. Obviously, they're going to get all shot up out there filming paintball. And the follow focus thing, you know, it's a pain in the butt when you're changing lenses all the time. You got to reset that back up, get paintballs in your gear and all that stuff. I'm going to show you guys what I use to film paintball with. What I use is a Manfrotto. It is the 561 BHDV. And I use this because it is a monopod that is designed to shoot video with. It has a fluid head on there. And that's another thing, guys. If you're going to get a tripod that has a fluid head. If you're going to buy a tripod and it's 50 bucks, it's made for still pictures, it is not worth a hill of beans when you're shooting video. If you want a really nice, steady pan shot, you have to get a fluid head. And this thing has a fluid head already on it. It has these wonderful feet that you can you know, it moves around and you can totally adjust it all the way, and it is almost, especially if you have an image stabilized lens, almost as steady as a tripod. But what it does is it gives me mobility on the field. It allows me to run to the action, go over here, somebody's running down the snake and there's getting ready to be a one-on-one battle. It's really hard to grab that tripod, fold it up, or keep it, you know, and you're knocking into people because it's spread out wide. Everybody's trying to get over there. This thing, you can just pick it right up, drop it back down, boom, you are on the action again. So this is a wonderful, wonderful device to use filming with digital SLR cameras. Alright, so let's talk about actually filming with one of these cameras. Obviously, you know, you're going to be shooting manual focus, so what's the best way to capture the image? Well, what I like to do is after you've started filming for a while, you kind of know about where your pull focus is going to be when certain people move to certain bunkers. So one of the things I like to do sometimes is, especially when players are coming at me, is have my focus just out of focus and let them come into the frame and get into focus, and then follow them in focus, in focus, in focus, and stop and let them come out of focus and move off the frame. That is a wonderful, very, very cinematic shot. You saw that in the one guy. I think he had the I4s in. You see him coming at the frame. He's out of focus. Then he's in focus right here, real sharp, and then he moves off the frame. That's one of my favorite shots. I think it's very, very cinematic, and I love to do that when people are coming off the field. If you can get that off the break, it's really, really cool as well. Now, a lot of these cameras are going to have this little button right here that says AF on. So if you look at the back of your camera, it's going to say AF on. Now what that is an autofocus button. So you can still leave your lens in autofocus mode, and you can still, especially with these L series lenses like these, you can still manually focus really easy. But sometimes if you get way off, you can just pop that button. Now it's going to pause your recording for a second, but it will go ahead and spot on focus for you just for that 1 second, and then you're back in the action again. I use that particularly when the guys are getting ready to break and my focus is off a little bit. I'm running out of time, you know, the horn's about ready to blow. Push that button, boom, it's on. Then I can just check it, and I'm back in the action. Now obviously you want to protect these cameras when you're filming. So get a rain bag just like you would a normal video camera and protect them. The lens, you can get a long enough rain bag that's going to protect your lens as well. Now you're going to want to use filters on all these lenses to protect them from a direct hit. If you're going to invest this lens right here, the new version of it's about $2,000. You do not want to take a hit directly in that lens. Let your filter take all the abuse. And one thing I also want to tell you guys is to get an ND filter on your lens. If you get one that's going to be an f4 or one of those that are really, really wide, you can put that on there. That way you don't have to shoot in crazy shutter speeds to get your exposure right. Now, don't be afraid to I'm always looking at my meter on my camera and checking that exposure. So if you're going to get a 60D, I'm not that familiar with those, but I do know that the T2Is meter a little hot. So when you're looking at your exposure meter, always have that just under the center mark there, just slightly underexposed, and you should be spot on. Alright, so let's talk a little bit more about aperture on lenses. This is one of my favorite lenses when I'm just shooting interviews and things like that. This is the L series 85mm 1.2 aperture lens. So I just want to show you guys the size of that glass. It's really really an amazing lens. Now this lens right here will run you almost $2,000. You don't need to have it. I'm just a real serious, as you know, camera buff. So you know, we use the best stuff that we can afford. But when you get a lens like this, your low light it's amazing what you can do with it. And I'm going to show you some shots with some of these different cameras, and I'm going to show you what these large apertures do when you film with them. Alright guys, this is at aperture of 1.2. Alright, now I have stopped it down to an aperture of 2. We're still at ISO 1600. I've had to crank the ISO up to 3200 and add a little bit of light. Now we're stopped down to an f4. And even at f4, you can see that it still has a really nice depth of field.